Hey, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down my Sultai Zaxara, the Exemplary Commander deck. One colorless, one black, one green, one blue to cast. 2/3 Nightmare Hydra. So Zaxara has Death Touch and has an activated ability tap to add 2 mana of any one color. Whenever you cast a spell with X in its mana cost, create a 0/0 green Hydra creature token, then put X +1/+1 counters on it. This build is kind of an X spells and heavy mana build. There are a couple infinite mana combos, not too many, so it's not over the top. If you don't pull out any of those combos, you still have ways of producing high amounts of mana to cast your X spells. First, we're going to start with the mana base. Command Tower. So blue-green lands, we got Yavimaya Coast, Breeding Pool Shockland, Waterlogged Grove, Rejuvenating Springs, and Dreamroot Cascade in the full art. Golgari lands, so Nurturing Peatland, Llanowar Waste, Necroblossom Snarl, Undergrowth Stadium, full art Deathcap Glade, our Dimir lands, Shockland Watery Grave, Drowned Catacomb, Sunken Hollow, full art Shipwreck Marsh. Gotta love the triomes. Here's a Zagoth triome. I just love that cartoon art from Ikoria. Zaxara was in the Otrimi Commander Precon from the Ikoria block. One of the extra commanders you could get in that deck. Misty Rainforest. So there's the retro etched foil treatment there. Beautiful card. A full art foil Fable Passage. Nice fetch. A Prismatic Vista. Now to our utility lands. We've got our Reliquary Tower, Arbor, Tomb of Yawgmoth. Turns every land in the battlefield into a swamp, which is huge with Cobble Coffers. So glad this card got reprinted. I did have the Plane Chase version in this, and I know that dropped in value, but having more copies, especially in various arts of this card, is huge for the game. So love that card. So that's one of our big mana producers there. Bazeju, Who Endures, great utility land. The green version of Urborg. So eventually, I don't know if they'll do an entire cycle of these, but here's the Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, which turns each land into a forest in addition to its other types. Wouldn't be a Hydra deck without this Lair of the Hydra land. It comes into play tap typically, but it's got a cool X ability, and it's got a nice treatment in the dungeon modal. Manamo, School at Water's Edge. Great card. Good for untapping Zaxara. We've got our basics in the Kamigawa Japanese full art treatment. We've got 2 islands. Should be 3 swamps and 4 forests. So there's 35 lands in all. Now let's move on to our mana ramp, our card draw, and a mix of both. So Soul Ring. Yep. Talisman of Resilience, Talisman of Curiosity, the Golgari Signet in the Secret Lair drop, foil etch treatment, Commander Sphere in the Saturday D&D treatment from Secret Lair drop, Manascape Refractor. I think this is kind of an undervalued mana rock. I know it costs 3, but it gives you all abilities of all other activated lands in play, so that could be big. It includes your opponent's lands too, so if they have some awesome utility lands, if they have a Cobble Coffers and you don't, this can supplement that. Chromatic Lantern, great for any 3 to 5 color deck. In this case, just having extra mana rock is important. So Basalt Monolith, this is one of our infinite mana engines. So anytime Basalt Monolith can tap for more than the 3 colorless it already taps for, it can then untap itself, and as long as you're netting at least 1 mana in addition, then it's infinite. Expedition Map, great great ramp. So now we're getting into our land ramp. So these cards are designed to get more lands onto the battlefield, or specific lands in this case. So crop rotation's in here because it can pull your Arbor or your Cobble Coffers. It's not specific to a basic land. Zaxara is just a great ramp card. So 3 visits to be able to fetch any force. Cultivate for basics. Tireless Provisioner. This is probably one of the best uncommons printed. It's a treasure engine with its landfall trigger. So great in almost any green deck. Birds of Paradise, an iconic mana dork. This is the Secret Lair Mark Pool drop. This is the non-foil version. Bloom Tender. This is also this is a mana dork that produces typically multiple colors of mana. Exploration, 1-drop enchantment that allows you to play additional lands during your turn. And Azusa, Lost But Seeking, beautiful full art, extended art on this. And this allows you to play an additional land on each of your turns as a creature. A little redundancy there. And why not keep going with that? Dryad of the Elysian Grove in the Secret Lair drop art. I do enjoy the Secret Lair a lot because they commission art specifically for the Secret Lair. This is great with Cobble Coffers as well. It converts all your lands into swamps in addition to all the other basic land types. So now Oracle Moldai, similar card, but allows you to play an additional land. The downside is you do have to play with your top card of your deck revealed. Phyrexian Arena, enchantment card draw. Baleful Strix, creature card draw. Solemn Simulacrum, card draw and ramp. Tatyova, Benthic Druid. This card's just, the art is gorgeous, so it's almost like an auto include. But it's another card that benefits you. It's card draw with your land plays. And the Great Henge, this card is broken. So this is both a mana dork, a mana ramp. It buffs your creatures, it's card draw. And typically in a deck like this, it costs 2 green mana to cast. So wish I had more copies of this. Now I'll move on to the Exfils. So we got Stone Coil Serpent, fun Exfil creature. Walking Ballista. So if you put infinite counters on this, you can do infinite damage. Damnable Pack. So now we're getting into the win cons. You can force a player to draw pretty much their deck if you have infinite mana. Also, you can use it on yourself if you need a bit of card draw. So there's that, and then Exsanguinate. This is each opponent loses X life. So once again, you go infinite and you can kill the entire table. Commander's Insight. You can force somebody to draw out their deck. What I like about this is it is at instant speed, which is why we also have Stroke of Genius in there. I remember when this card first came out and it was like the prize of Urza's Saga. This was the most valuable card in Urza's Saga at the time. So glad I have that. Drowning Dreams. So this is a newer card, very similar, instant speed, but what's cool about this is you can take 2 players out at once. One, you force them to draw their deck, and then the other, you can mill their deck as long as you control your commander. Blue Sun Zenith, another instant card draw Exfil. Plus this is reusable because after you use it, you can go back in your decks. March of Swirling Mist. This is a newer fun card. Definitely can protect the board. Exfil has an additional cost. To cast this spell, you may exile a number of blue cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Up to X target creatures phase out. So what's cool about phasing out is it pretty much just makes the cards disappear. So no ETBs or anything like that. Teferi's Protection is probably the most well-known phase out card that is widely used. I think this is going to see more play in blue for the same reasons. And what's also cool about this though is you don't have to only target your own creatures. You can do a little politicking and target some friendlies, or maybe mess with somebody by phasing something out that maybe got targeted to remove or whatnot. So cool card with that. Steelbane Hydra. So not many creature X spells in this, but this is one of them, and mostly it's in there for its targeted artifact and enchantment removal. You know, you get a lot of counters on this, and you can take out somebody's entire enchantment or artifact board if you have the mana, which this deck does. Nylea's Intervention. I think this is a fun card because it has 2 different X abilities. Most likely I'd be pulling out all the lands in my deck. Probably not going to use the flying ability, but you can still cast it for that to get the X portion of it, you know. So not bad. Animus Awakening. Reveal the top X cards of your library. Put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom of your library. So this also gets all of your lands out of your deck. The Finale of Devastation. You got a bunch of hydras on board. If you can pull off 10 or more mana, but it buffs all of your other creatures as well, so this can be a game ender. Villainous Wealth. So the reason I built this deck in the first place is I saw it on a Commander Versus. Jeremy was playing it, and I just really liked the build. And I've changed it since then, but I do have to give them props because it just seemed like a fun deck. And he built this deck around Villainous Wealth. So he built it to take his opponent's cards from their library. It's still a potential win con. And then Hydroid Crisis. This card has dropped insanely in value with the reprints from Double Masters 2. It's also been downshifted to rare, which is probably a big reason. But I mean, it's a Jellyfish Hydra beast, so it's got to be in there. Now to the engine. So as you could probably see in the background, Kinnan Bonder Prodigy. This is a huge card. This is, you know, what makes your Basalt Monolith be able to go infinite. And then Nyxbloom Ancient. This is another one, only this includes your lands. So, you know, this makes your Cobble Coffers go crazy. Freed from the Reel. So if you attach this to Zaxara, you have infinite mana. As easy as that. Zaxara produces 2 mana with each tap. You pay 1 to untap, and then you keep going. So Fate Stitcher, this is cool for untapping your, typically going to be your Cobble Coffers. Also can be brought back from the dead. Unbound Flourishing, so this is going to double all of your X value. So a permanent is going to come in with twice as much counters on it, and an instant or sorcery, you're gonna get to copy that X spell. So if X is big, you get 2 copies. So with all those win cons, you can be casting 2 of them, so you could drop 2 opponent's decks. So this is another, I feel like it's just an auto include because it's such a fun card, and yeah, it's kind of a cheesy way to win. You almost want to try to win this way. So Simic Ascendancy, it's all about counters getting put on creatures, and when they do get put on it, you put the equal amount of counters on this. And if this has 20 or more growth counters on it at the beginning of your upkeep, you straight up win the game. Reality Chip, great utility card. Card Advantage, probably one of my favorite newer cards that's come out recently. Mind Shrieker, it's a win con if you have infinite mana. Arbor Elf, if you've got your Yavimaya on the board, this will allow you to untap a target non-forest land that is now a forest. Scavenging Ooze, good graveyard hate. Eternal Witness, graveyard, advantage. Sometimes you drop something in your graveyard, gotta get it back. Sword of Feast and Famine, great for untapping all of your lands. Lightning Greaves, gotta protect your commander. Kinnan is another target for this. Tamiyo's prevents your opponents from making you sacrifice your cards or discard cards. Also allows you to pull something out of your graveyard. Abrupt Decay, great target removal, so I think we're into the removal now. Veil of Summer. This card blew up when it was released, and it's still holding hot, especially in the foil. And it's a great kind of green counterspell, to be honest, to an extent. Also can protect your cards from blue or black and get you an extra card. I mean, it's a 1 green instant. Salty Guardianship, free counterspell. Salty Rollick, a free targeted removal, exile, in fact, with no other side effects. In Grook's Wake, it's high cost, but it's fun because it only targets your opponent's creatures and planeswalkers. So this could be a win con with hydras on the board. Dig Up, I think this is a very underrated card. It's a great land tutor. You use that cleave ability and you can get any card in your deck, or you can use it, you can just pay 1 and go get a basic. So, you know, for a Golgari tutor, I don't know if there's any that exist like this. It also puts it in your hand. Typically Golgari, which is interesting because it is Dig Up, would put it into your graveyard first. Mythos of Brakos, you can return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand, but if you use that black-blue in addition to the 2 green, then you get to search your library for a card in the first place and put that in your graveyard. So it's like you tutor it and then you get it to your hand if you can pay the cost correctly. Profane Tutor, nice free suspend tutor, slow but good. Grim Tutor, and Sidisi, the Undead Vizier, another tutor if you use the exploit ability. So the reason these tutors are in here is mostly to get your important lands. So now we'll go over the tokens really quick. So this is a Cuba Majig by Cartamajig. I do like these. I bought a pack of I think 20 with this same art. I love them for tokens and little small dice. So tokens, don't have to show much. I wish these came in foil. But these are the hydras. The reason you need multiple tokens of hydras is because they may not all be the same power or toughness. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And these came in that pre-con, so that's why I got those. Got the Muyan Ling Ultra Pro deck box. But that's a great piece of art there. And then the Eternal Witness Magic Fest Ultra Pro playmat. Big fan of that. It's funny, the Eternal Witness in this deck isn't the same art, but I don't think they've done Eternal Witness art poorly. I have the Therese Nielsen art in this deck. So I hope you enjoyed this little breakdown. The deck list will be in the description, so check out some of my other collectibles videos. And beyond that, enjoy your day.